If your creatinine just came back high and your doctor moved on before you could ask a single question, this video is the conversation you should have had in that office. Because there is one number on that lab report that, if it keeps rising, leads to one place: dialysis. And most people over 60 don't find out they were heading there until the window to change it has already closed. I'm Grace Wells, kidney and diabetes health educator for older adults. And I'm going to give you 5 questions today that can change that outcome. But first, let me tell you what that number actually means and what it doesn't. Most people who come to me after getting a high creatinine result say the same thing. My doctor said it was elevated, but I still don't know what that actually means for me. So before the 5 questions, here is what you actually need to know. If you are over 60 and your creatinine is rising, that combination is exactly what we need to talk about today. Because creatinine rising after 60 does not always mean what people fear, but it does always mean something worth understanding. Your muscles produce a waste product every single day called creatinine. Your kidneys are supposed to catch it and flush it out. That is their job, happening around the clock, quietly, without you feeling a thing. You are not aware of it at breakfast. You are not aware of it at dinner. It is just happening in the background, every hour of every day. When that number rises on your lab report, it means one of 2 things. Either your kidneys are not keeping up, or something temporary threw the reading off. Dehydration the morning of your test. A high-protein meal the night before. A new medication sitting in your medicine cabinet. These can all push creatinine up without any actual damage to your kidneys. This is important because it means a single high number is not a verdict. It is a question. And the 5 questions I'm about to give you are how you start getting real answers. For adults over 60, standard reference ranges are roughly 0.7 to 1.3 for men and 0.5 to 1.1 for women. But those ranges were largely built using data from younger adults. After 60, the picture becomes more layered, and that is exactly why one number standing alone can be misleading. Before we get into the 5 questions, I want to spend a few minutes on something that often gets skipped in a standard appointment: why eGFR and urine albumin matter just as much as creatinine, and why you need to ask for both. eGFR stands for Estimated Glomerular Filtration Rate. It uses your creatinine result, your age, and a few other factors to estimate how well your kidneys are actually filtering waste, expressed as a percentage of normal function. An eGFR above 90 is generally considered normal. Between 60 and 89, your kidneys are still doing most of their job, but it is worth watching. Below 60, confirmed over more than one test, is typically where doctors start talking about chronic kidney disease, CKD. If your creatinine rises slightly, but your eGFR stays stable, that tells a very different story than if both numbers are moving in the wrong direction together. One without the other leaves the picture incomplete. And then there is urine albumin, a separate test that many seniors have never been told about. Urine albumin checks whether your kidneys are leaking protein into the urine. Healthy kidneys keep protein in the blood where it belongs. When the kidneys are under stress, small amounts begin to leak through. You will not see it when you go to the bathroom, you will not feel it, but a lab will find it. Here is why this matters so much. In people managing diabetes or high blood pressure, protein leakage can begin years before creatinine changes show up in the blood. That is a critical early window, and it is a window that often stays invisible for people who are never told to look for it. The combination of creatinine, eGFR, and urine albumin together gives a far more complete picture of your kidney health than any single number alone. And knowing to ask for all 3 is part of what today's 5 questions are really about. And this next part matters more than you might expect, because these questions are not just information. They are a framework for a different kind of conversation with your doctor. The first question: Has my creatinine been trending upward or did it change once? Think about this for a moment. You may have lab results sitting in a drawer at home from last year, the year before, maybe further back. Most people never look at them side by side. They see one number at one appointment, and that number lives in isolation. But here is what kidney specialists actually look at: direction, not snapshots, trends. A one-time elevation, if you were dehydrated, had eaten a high-protein meal, or recently started a new medication, can be temporary. It may normalize on its own at your next blood draw. But if your creatinine has been slowly climbing over 2, 3, or 4 years, even in small steps, even within what looks like a normal range, that is a pattern. And that pattern is the conversation your doctor needs to be having with you. This question asks your doctor to look at the direction, not just the current moment. If creatinine has been stable, that is genuinely reassuring. If it has been rising gradually, that is valuable information, not because it means disaster, but because it means now is the time to pay closer attention. Catching a trend early is not bad news. It is useful news, and useful news gives you options. The second question, and this one surprises people: what is my eGFR and how does it compare to last year? Most seniors leave a standard appointment knowing their creatinine number, but not their eGFR. And honestly, that gap matters. eGFR is already calculated from the same blood test. Your doctor has it. It is sitting right there in the results. Asking for it costs you one sentence at your next appointment. Here is why it matters so much. An eGFR that has held steady, say around 64 for 3 years, tells a very different story than one that has gone from 72 to 65 to 58 over that same period. Each number in that second example might look acceptable on its own, but the downward direction is the signal that deserves attention. A mild, very slow eGFR decline over many years may be part of normal aging, but a steeper or faster decline, especially alongside rising creatinine, is worth a deeper conversation and often a referral to a specialist. Asking this question also opens a door to a larger conversation about blood pressure, blood sugar, hydration, and the medications already on your nightstand. All things your doctor can only address with you once that conversation gets started. The third question: has my urine albumin been tested recently? I want to be honest with you. This is the question I hear the least from seniors walking into a first appointment. Not because it isn't important, simply because no one told them to ask. Standard blood panels usually pick up creatinine automatically, but urine albumin is often a separate test that does not always get ordered in a busy primary care visit, and most people have no idea it exists. If you have diabetes or high blood pressure, two of the most common drivers of kidney stress after 60, this test could give your doctor information they simply cannot get from blood alone. The result, called a UACR on your lab report, can show early stress on your kidneys long before anything shows up in your creatinine. The test itself is simple. A urine sample, sometimes done right at the office, sometimes a small kit you take home. If your result shows any elevation, even mild, that conversation is worth having. Because mild and caught early is a very different situation than something that has been quietly building for years while you went about your mornings, your grocery runs, your daily life. Now here is something worth slowing down for, because it is the question that often catches people off guard. The fourth question: which of my medications or supplements could be affecting my creatinine or my kidneys? After 60, most people are managing multiple prescriptions, sometimes from different specialists who may not be in full communication with each other. And some of the things already in your medicine cabinet or even your kitchen pantry can affect how your kidneys filter or how creatinine reads on a lab. Common over-the-counter pain relievers, ibuprofen, naproxen, and similar anti-inflammatory drugs can reduce blood flow to the kidneys with regular, long-term use. This does not mean every senior who has ever taken ibuprofen is in danger. But for someone whose creatinine is already rising or whose eGFR is on the lower side, reaching for that bottle too often may be adding extra strain nobody has discussed. Certain antibiotics, some blood pressure and diabetes medications, and even herbal supplements or high-dose protein powders can interact with kidney function in ways that are not always obvious. Please do not stop or change any medication on your own based on this video. That is not the message. The message is, bring a complete list to your next appointment. Everything, prescriptions, over-the-counter medications, vitamins, supplements, herbal teas, protein powders, and ask your doctor or pharmacist specifically whether anything on that list could be affecting your kidneys. That one conversation can sometimes reveal a fixable piece of the puzzle that has been quietly there the entire time. And now the fifth question, the one I said most seniors never think to ask. Should I see a nephrologist yet, or are we still in primary care territory? A nephrologist is a kidney specialist. They spend their entire career focused on kidney function, interpreting lab trends, and helping patients slow or better manage kidney decline. They work alongside primary care doctors. They are not a last resort, they are a resource. And here is what many seniors are never told. You do not have to wait until your kidneys are in serious trouble to see one. Early referral are when creatinine is rising, but eGFR is still in the 45 to 65 range, is often exactly when a specialist can be most useful, because that is when meaningful options are still available. Waiting until things are critical shrinks the window. Going early expands it. If your creatinine has been trending upward, your eGFR has been declining, you have diabetes or high blood pressure alongside that, and you have never spoken with a kidney specialist, this is a completely reasonable question to raise. A good doctor will welcome it. And even if the answer is not yet, let's watch it for another few months. You are now having a more active, informed conversation about your own kidney health. That shift from passive patient to informed participant is one of the most genuinely protective things you can do for yourself after 60. Not just for your kidneys, for your whole health picture. If what I've shared today brought a specific number to mind, a creatinine level from a recent lab, an eGFR that has been sitting in the back of your mind, drop the word labs in the comments below. I'll share a simple tracker for monitoring creatinine, eGFR, and urine albumin over time, designed specifically for older adults and built for real doctor visits. Something you can print and bring with you to your next appointment. So what does a calm, practical kidney health routine actually look like after 60? It does not require a dramatic overhaul. It starts at your kitchen table 10 minutes before your next appointment. Gather your last 2 or 3 lab results, even from different years. Look for creatinine and eGFR. Write them down in order with dates. Is there a direction? That simple exercise will help you walk into your appointment with a real question instead of a vague, uneasy feeling. Bring a full medication and supplement list. Everything on your nightstand, in your medicine cabinet, in your kitchen pantry. Ask specifically whether anything on that list could be affecting your kidneys. Ask whether your urine albumin has been tested recently. If not, ask whether it should be, given your health history. And if you have been managing blood pressure or diabetes for years, ask your doctor how your kidney numbers connect to how well those conditions are currently being controlled. The relationship is direct. Progress in one area often protects the other. Small steps, but these are the steps that turn a passive lab visit into an active health conversation. Here is what I want you to take away. Creatinine rising after 60 is not automatically a crisis, but it is a signal worth understanding. And the best thing you can do with that signal is ask the right questions, the 5 we covered today. Is the trend going up, or was this a one-time change? What does my eGFR say, and where has it been? Has my urine albumin been tested? What on my medication or supplement list could be affecting my kidneys? And should I be seeing a nephrologist? Those 5 questions, asked clearly at your next appointment, give your doctor everything they need to have a real conversation with you. And they give you the clarity and sense of control that every older adult deserves when it comes to something this important. One simple step you can take today. If you have lab results at home, find them. Look for creatinine and eGFR. Write them down with the date. That one small act is the beginning of tracking your kidney health the way it deserves to be tracked. This content is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for personal medical advice. Every person's lab values, health history, medications, and kidney situation are different. Please speak with your doctor, nephrologist, or renal dietitian before making any changes to your medications, diet, or daily health routine. If a number from your own labs is sitting in your mind right now, drop labs in the comments. I'll share a simple, practical kidney lab tracker made for older adults, built for real doctor visits, easy to use between appointments. And if this video gave you a clearer picture of something that has been quietly worrying you, the kind of clear explanation that should have been easier to find, you may want to stay with this channel. We cover kidney health, blood tests, diet, and daily habits, always with adults over 60 in mind. Next, we are going to look at something that genuinely surprises a lot of seniors. 5 vegetables with a strong, healthy reputation that may need a second look depending on what your kidney labs are saying. That video may change what you reach for the next time you are standing in the produce aisle, and it is worth knowing before your next grocery run.